Alright, hello. Today we're going to be talking about permutations and combinations. Now, there are two very similar ideas where they're counting a number of objects and slots, and how many possible outcomes those objects can have in those slots. Now, the difference between these two is very simple. With combinations, it is simply how many possible combinations those objects can have inside those slots. And then what that means is that, let's say you have a square, a triangle, and a circle, and you only have two slots. If you had a triangle and a circle in those two slots, or a circle and a triangle in those two slots, it's the same. These don't count as different ones because it's the same things that you have there, it's just in a different order. However, with permutations, this difference does matter. Permutations mean that the ordering of the objects or people, whatever you have as objects would matter. Like, say if you were in a race or something, first, second, or third, it matters. And that's essentially it. And also the formulas are different. Now, the tool that our teacher used in class to really explain this difference and just show us is she just actually, instead of having a triangle, a circle, and a square, is she actually just had us run up to the front of the classroom and sit down in a couple of seats and talk about how they were different. And she sat us down in all the possible combinations and explained how they were exactly the same, this and that, and how the permutations were different, as I just did to you. Alright, so now I'm just going to continue on and start talking about the actual math part behind this. So, first off is I'm going to talk about the actual formulas, and they are P n r equals n factorial over n minus r factorial. Oh, those are in parentheses. Now, first off, is I also want to explain what a factorial is, and it's a very simple concept. It's essentially if you have any number, any integer, like say 5, it would be all the integers below it times it. So like 5 times 4, so like 5 factorial is equal to 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And that's equal to 5 factorial. Alright, moving on. So that's the formula for permutation, where order matters. And here's the formula for combination. So CNR is equal to n factorial over r factorial, and then the same thing, n minus r factorial. Now, first off is that I also want to talk about what these two things mean, and I'm pretty sure I basically already covered it, but I just want to be very obvious about it. And that is that these are the objects that you're putting into these slots, and essentially what that means is that if you do have 3 objects that you're looking for that you're finding the number of ways you can put it into those slots, whether it is by order or by just what objects are actually in all those slots. And so now I'm actually just going to move on to a couple examples right now. So let's say that you were in a race. You were in a big car race, and there's first, second, and third, and those are your 3 slots. And in this race, there are, let's say, 5 racers. what actually goes on here is that, as I said, these are your slots, and these are your what do you call it? Objects.